Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License Lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along with Justin and Afrio. And this week, because of the wild card races and the Yankees trying to win the AL East, we'll start with the baseball, and we'll start with the Yankees. We'll start with the Yankees. Last night they failed to they couldn't clinch. They lost 5-3 to the Orioles. But looking at the situation right now with the Yankees, it would be a shock. It would be a shock if they lost the American League East. All they need to do is beat the Orioles in one of these, or just win one game, even if it's not even against the Orioles. Just win one game this weekend and clinch the division. So I think the Yankees are in good shape. I think they are going to win the division. I think they will win the division. They'll win one of these next two games. So pretty much now maybe dig a little, take a little bit of deeper dive at the Yankees. And the big question for them is, should they be the favorite to win the American League? And I think they should. I think their pitching is good enough with, I think their starting pitching good enough with Cole, with Heel, with Rondon. I think the starting pitching with Schmidt, I think the starting pitching is good enough. I think the bullpen, I think Weaver's done a good job as the closer, and we know the lineup is really good. So I do think the Yankees should be the favorite in the American League.
I think they should as well. Just because right now, I know Cleveland's right there. I know they got the World Series 8 years ago. So I know the Central teams, a lot of people, for good reason, don't usually believe much in. The Astros haven't been playing well of late. The Orioles have been in a free fall for the last month and a half or so. They have not played good baseball. So yeah, I think right now with the Yankees, they should be. Luke Weaver's done a really good job in the closer role. Cortez, who's pitching well, I know is going to have an MRI. Hopefully it's nothing, but because he's getting an MRI, it's probably something. But my only worry is because they are playing the lineup's been on fire of late too. The only thing that worries me is that 5 days off with the bye. Does that cool some guys off? Because routine is so important for baseball players, and you get out of that routine for a while, for a couple of days. We've seen it affect teams, so that's my one worry.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point because good example is you saw it last year. You saw it with the Braves against the Phillies the last 2 years. The Braves winning the division and losing to the Phillies in the playoffs. And then you see it the last 2 years with the Dodgers winning their division and losing to the Padres in 2022, and then losing to the Diamondbacks last year. So yeah, the time off could hurt, especially if they have to play the Orioles, because there's a good chance it could be Yankees Orioles. Starting next Saturday. There's a good chance that could be the matchup. So, and the Orioles will have the momentum. Winning their series against if they win their series, they'll have the momentum. And let's don't forget, it happened to the Orioles last year against the Rangers. So, yeah, momentum is big. I mean, the 3 of the last 4 World Series teams came from the wild card round.
Yeah, and a lot of those times too, the teams are playing really well the last couple of weeks, and like Diamondbacks last year, they got hot that last month or so. They came rolling in the playoffs playing really well, and they just continued that through on to all the way to the World Series. And, the Yankees are playing well, but the 5 days off could kind of take you out of that. So yeah, I think I think it's important to be playing well going into the playoffs. Like somebody like Detroit right now. I know right now we may not think they're a factor, but that pitching staff, I know the lineup
Oh,
not dangerous, but the way they're playing,
they're playing really
not
well.
gonna be-
They're playing
yeah,
really well. They could be the Phillies of 2 years ago, the Diamondbacks of last year.
yeah, yeah. Again, I know AJ Hinch is on that Astro staff and cheated, but he's not a bad manager himself. So like they got a good manager, So again, it's getting hot at the right time, and Detroit's doing that right now. I know the Yankees are as well. So it's getting hot, just about getting hot at the right time, and it's usually important to get in the World Series or making a run here for the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big question for the Yankees, though, is do you think they clinch the division one of these next 2 nights against the Orioles or against the Pirates? I think they do it one of the next 2 nights.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I don't think they're gonna get swept by the O's. So yeah, I think they'll either do it tonight or tomorrow, and move on to the Pirates and kind of see how they handle that this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. They got Cole pitched in one of those games. I know he's going up against Burns on Thursday. But here's the thing. The Orioles have already clinched a playoff spot. It looks like they're going to be the number 4 seed in the American League. And I know with the expanded roster, you don't sit everyone, but is the motivation going to be there as much now? No, they're still fighting for the division. The division looks almost impossible with the Yankees having a 5-game lead with 5 games left to play. So I do think they clinch one of the next 2 nights at home. They're going to clinch at home anyways, but it'd be nice to clinch against the Orioles.
Yeah, it'd be nice to clinch with those guys. Yeah, I think they'll get it done. Yeah, like tonight, you always see after a team clinches, they got the celebration going, and usually they're kind of the next day. We saw the Yankees last week. They came out flat against Seattle there, and came out with a loss. So like I think tonight's probably the night they get it done. And yeah, they're up 1 right now for the number 1 seed and for the AL race. So I guess they will probably try to make sure they get that number 1 seed. But yeah, it can't bench everybody. But yeah, I bet probably try to give a couple guys a day off, before the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're going to wind up with the 1, especially they're playing the Pirates those last 3 games. I think is Skeens pitching?
Skeens,
I didn't check.
Skeens versus Heel on Saturday.
Oh wow, so
That's
Skeens is pitching.
that's a great matchup.
Skeens is pitching Saturday. So yeah, that'd be interesting because they would still be fighting for the number 1 seed with the Guardians. But yeah, I think so. I think the Yankees will do it in one of the next 2 days.
Yeah, they should. They should. Hopefully tonight they get it done, and Thursday. Hopefully tonight they get it done. Yeah, just get it over with, and move on and get ready for the playoffs.
Absolutely. So we got 4. We got 4 of the 6 American League teams in the playoffs. Yankees are in. We got the Guardians are in, winning the AL Central. Astros again. We didn't think this would happen at the beginning of the season, but they win the AL West last night, and then the Orioles beating the Yankees clinched a playoff spot last night. But there's 2 spots still open, and pretty much there's 3 teams fighting for 2 spots. It's the Mariners, it's the Tigers, and it's the Twins. And if you look at the 3 team schedules, the Tigers I think have the most favorable. 2 games with the Rays, and then they got 3 at home with the White Sox. You look at the Twins schedule; they got 2 with Miami, which they lost to Miami at home last night, and 3 with the Orioles. And this is probably going to be an Oriole team that's again just going to have everything wrapped up. And then you look at the Royals; they got 2 at the Nationals, but here's the tricky one: they got 3 in Atlanta. So looking at it right now, looking at who I would have make the playoffs as the Tigers. Now it looks like it would be the Tigers and Royals because they both have 2-game leads, but the Tigers to me, I think are going to get the 5 seed. I think they're going to get the 5 seed because of their schedule. I think they're going to go 4-1 in their last. They could either go 5-0. I think they go 4-1 in their last 5 games. I think they get into the playoffs, and I think they get into the playoffs as the 5 seed. So I think they go to Baltimore next Tuesday. I think they'll be in Baltimore next Tuesday. For the Twins, they got 2 in Miami and 3 in Baltimore. But but even though they're 2 out, I do think they go 4-1. So I think that gives them a chance. It gives them a chance the last 2 games of the season. And so I think it gives them a chance. But then you look at the Royals; they got 2 against Washington and 3 against Atlanta. I do think they take a game from Washington and a game from Atlanta. So I think they wind up going 2 and 3. I'll give them the 2 wins against Washington and 1 win against Atlanta. So I think they go 3 and 2. I do think, even though this is the Royals could be the team that collapsed here because they're not hitting. The injury to Pasquantino hurt them. I think that the Royals do still get in. So my two teams to get into the playoffs in the American League are the Tigers as the 5 seed and the Royals as the 6 seed. Justin, who do you got as your two teams in the American League?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Tigers at 5 and the 6 as the Royals here. Yeah, the Tigers with the White Sox this weekend. I think they're going to be able to take care of business. I know, Tampa. I think they split here the next two with Tampa. But I think the way the Tigers are playing, they'll get there, and they're throwing one of their rookies too. He's coming up as a reliever, I think. Jackson Joby. I think he's maybe pitching one of the next upcoming days, or I think they're putting him in the bullpen. Maybe, yeah, I think he's going to bullpen actually. But the way their pitch has been pitching, I know the lineup's not great, but I think they'll find a way to get in there. With Hitch there, and I just don't trust the Twins. They've fallen off, and they just again, at home last night, you score one run against the Miami Marlins, and hey, maybe Boston had a 4-game winning streak last week. They're in this fight as well, but probably a little bit too late for them.
It's definitely too late for them, and that's why you got to do stuff at the trade deadline, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah. Yep. So Boston just misses out, and I think Seattle does as well here. They got the A's this weekend, who aren't playing great at the moment, but maybe. But yeah, I just think the Twins are now. I don't know the way they're playing Seattle. I just don't trust their lineup, unfortunately, and I just don't think they'll be able to catch the Royals or the Tigers here, even though the Royals are falling. It's their second 7-game losing streak I think they've had in the last month or so. So they've been free falling the Royals, but I think they survive and get in.
Yeah, the Royals, the Mariners to me are falling too far behind. They're falling too far behind. That's and they're just have too many teams to leap over. I know they're only 2.5 out, but they only have 4 games left, and they just have too many teams to leap over. That's why I have them missing the playoffs again. Yeah, I think to me it's the Tigers, and then the 6 seed is tough because it could very easily be the Twins. Looking at the fact the Royals have to play the Braves in Atlanta this weekend, but I'm still going to go with the Royals.
Yeah, I am too. I think they'll take care. I think they'll find a way to get 1 or 2 against the Braves this weekend and be able to get it. I know that Hurricanes going to Atlanta. I think it should be good by Friday. So I know the Mets Braves series is gonna be dicey, but I do think Kansas City finds a way to do enough, and yeah, the Braves will still be fighting for something too. But I think as long as the Royals win, the next 2 are Washington. You probably only have to win 1 in Atlanta, which I think they could reasonably do this weekend.
So now, speaking of that Mets-Braves series, last night the Braves beat the Mets 5-0 to draw to within a game of them to draw within a game behind the Mets and a half game behind the Diamondbacks. So it's really, really tight between those 3 teams. Really tight between those 3 teams in the National League. And I do think the Braves win this series. I do think they win this. They end up winning this series. I think they do. They end up tying the Mets tonight, but I do think they lose on Thursday. So I do think they end up being a game out. But I do think it's really close. But I think the Mets do end up getting in because they're playing a Brewers team that really, again, has really not that much to play for. So I do think the Mets are one. I think it's very close between the 3, but I do think the Mets are one of the wild card teams. I think that they end up being one of the wild card teams. I think they win one of these 2 games, and I think they sweep. I think they sweep the they sweep the Brewers. And then you look at the Diamondbacks. I think they win today. I think they win all the rest. Even though they struggle, I think they win all 4. I think they win today, and I think they win all 4. I think the Braves are the team left out. I think the Braves are the team that I think they take 2 out of 3 with the Royals, but I think they're the team that's left out. I think they're the team that finishes the game behind. I think the Braves get left out. They win the series with the Mets, but I do think they get left out of the wild card because of the opponent they're facing in the last game of the season. I think the Royals take a game from them. So my 2 teams to get into the wild card, I got the Mets as the 5 seed heading to San Diego, and I got the Diamondbacks as the 16th going back to Milwaukee for a rematch of last year's wild card series against the Brewers.
For me, I get the Mets getting the 5, at the Braves and the 6.
Oh, you think Arizona collapses?
Yeah, I think they do because San Diego won last night against the Dodgers. They got a triple play there, didn't they? Night. They're only 2.5 out or 2 games out of the
2 games out. We'll get to them. Yeah,
the National League West. So I think the Padres could still be playing for the West if they win. If they lose the next 2, obviously they won't, but they're still playing for a fight for the NL West crown. I think Diamondbacks could lose a couple there. I don't like the way they're playing right now. The lineup's kind of gone cold. Losing 11-0 last night to Giants is not great. And The Mets, I think they hold on, but man, those demons, they just can't get the Braves in a big spot. And
Yeah.
I know tonight and tomorrow's not gonna be played, but Sales are probable tonight, which is could easily be right there at the Cy Young race. So um and I know so if they do get rained out tonight and tomorrow, they play it sounds like Monday.
Doubleheader.
If this means something for even if this means something for the Braves, they still got Monday and they'll kind of know their path. So I especially too because if it's Monday, the Mets are already in. This probably means nothing for the Mets. They probably just want to get out of town and go wherever they are next. So I could see Atlanta getting in, on Monday maybe as well. So that's why I just don't like the D-backs the way they're playing. And it is the Padres are still playing for something. I didn't even get them at home this weekend. It could be tough. And I do think Mets and Atlanta both get in here.
Yeah, there's a good chance they both get in. And for the Mets, too, you're talking about the Demons against the Braves 2 years ago, them getting swept and forcing them wild card and losing the wild card series. I know the Braves ended up losing the Phillies, but they lost their wild card series to the Padres too. Yeah, it's the Mets definitely have always had their problems against the Braves. Even back in the 90s, that was their nemesis. I mean, remember in '99 they lost in the NLCS to the Braves too. The Braves all those division titles. They in the late '90s, early 2000s, the Braves were always the team that beat the Mets. But yeah, I think the Mets have those demons against the Braves, but I just think that their schedule is just a little bit easier. I know the rainouts could definitely affect them, especially that if they play that doubleheader. That'd be a big doubleheader. They play against the Braves because it's probably going to matter. Say they get rained out tonight and tomorrow. It's definitely going to matter between those two teams on Monday if they have to play that doubleheader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for the Braves, you'd hope the Mets do go to Milwaukee and sweep them, where it does not mean anything for them on Monday, and it just means something for you. If you still have a chance here with the Diamondback, I would assume there's still less than 2 out of Arizona going in, and yeah, you hope for Atlanta or for your Atlanta player fan that it just doesn't mean anything for the Mets, and they just want to get out of town and just go to their destination, and you could take 2 from them. I know the Mets would probably love to knock them out, but you're not really I don't think you're throwing anything meaningful to the Mets. It's a tough spot. It'd be a tough, but yeah, it'd be a tough spot for either team on Monday, especially if it means something. It could feel like game 163, which I know we're not going to have anymore, but it's always a game you kind of look forward to. So
yeah,
be great. I know Mets or Braves fans would kind of hate to be in that spot, but I think for just us baseball fans, it'd be great to kind of see a game 163. It's nice doubleheader there for something for a meaningful spot.
It definitely would. That'd be interesting. That'd be great if they do play Monday in a doubleheader. But we'll wrap up baseball talking about the NL West race between the Padres and the Dodgers. And the Padres only 2 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West. But looking at what the Padres got, especially their next series going to Arizona, looking at what the Dodgers have going to Colorado, even if the Padres win the next 2, I still think the Dodgers win the division.
Yeah, I think though the Dodgers will find a way to hang on. But man, that pitching staff right now is really a mess. And I do think, with Colorado coming in or going to Colorado, I think they'll be able to get it done. And yeah, I think even if I just sweep them, it's going to be a tougher test for San Diego to go down to Arizona and get a couple there. So I do think it helps the Dodgers that they got Colorado on the road this weekend. And yeah, I do think the Dodgers will hang on there and still with the possibility there too, getting the 1 seed. I know they're fighting with the Phillies at the moment.
I think the Dodgers will end up hanging on. It's definitely close between the Dodgers and Philly for the 1 seed too. But yeah, I think the Dodgers end up hanging on. Padres gonna get the number. I think they'll wind up getting the number 4 seed. But yeah, it was interesting ending last night though. They clinch a playoff spot with a triple play. Really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, what was that? The 5-4-3 triple play there. So yeah, big for the Padres. That bullpen went really well, or that pitching really well, and that was. I stayed up for most of that game last night. Tonight's going to be a good pitching matchup too. Dylan Cease versus Jack Flaherty, who's been unbelievable for the Dodgers. So he's been a huge pickup because the Dodgers are so beat up with the pitching staff. So he's been huge. So yeah, the next tonight should be a good one, and then tomorrow too, Musgrove versus Buehler. I know it hasn't been great, but if the Padres can win tonight, man, they could with Buehler on the bump tomorrow. Padres really could be getting the sweep and getting out of there with a tie. Really put pressure on the Dodgers.
They win tonight. Yeah, it could very easily be a tie to put pressure on, but I just don't see them losing just because of those last 3 series. I just don't see it happening. but it should be interesting.
Yeah.
Say what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah. Even if the Padres tied them, I can't see Colorado. I can't see Colorado taking like 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. They'd hold on.
Yeah, exactly. So it should be interesting. This last week of the baseball season, a lot still to be determined. So it should be very, very interesting to see what happens there. But we got the biggest game of the college football season on Saturday. But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, so we got the biggest game of the college football season on Saturday in Tuscaloosa as number 2 Georgia faces off with number 4 Alabama. Huge game for Kalen DeBoer. Big game. This is the biggest game post Nick Saban era for Alabama. And before we get into our predictions, we know I know you've been like probably all over this game all week, probably studying this game all week. And we'll talk about what each team needs to do to win the game. And I'll start with you. We'll start with Georgia. What does Georgia need to do to win this game?
I think for Georgia to win this football game, I think number one, they got to find a running game that's effective. The running game hasn't been up to Georgia standards. Like they always have that 1A, 1B back, and they just don't have it. Like I think Trevor Etienne's a decent running back, but like he's not anything they've had. So I think for them, they got to be able to find the running game this week. Number 2 for them is they got to find a Carson Beck's got to find his go-to wide receiver or tight end. Last year they had the Brock Bowers, they had Ladd McConkey. They've had guys that could hit the big plays that they could go to. He doesn't really have that. Dominic Lovett's not bad. Dylan Bell, I think they're expecting to be their number 2 guy, really hasn't got it going. Kobe Young that they brought in from Miami hasn't done much either so far. So Georgia needs to find one of those guys to hit some big plays there for Carson Beck, because they just don't have the elite wide receiver talent that they've had, or that and then the last one for me is their defense. Kind of don't allow Jalen Milroe to hit the big plays. The explosive plays, I think for Alabama. Because I think it really comes out, because I guess I'm giving my pick here. I have Bama winning because I trust Alabama hit more explosive plays than I do Georgia. So for Georgia, you got to limit the explosive plays and let Milroe kind of beat you, with his short, medium throws.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's you said it. It's about running the football. If Georgia's able to run the ball, I think they're able to win the game. And the second thing for me is contain Jalen Milroy. Contain Jalen Milroy on the ground. Force him to beat you from the pocket. So that for me, that's what I think Georgia's got to do. What does Bama have to do?
For Bama in this one, secondary wise, I still don't think it's great. This is the first real quarterback you're playing. Van Dyke got hurt. You played TJ Finley at Western Kentucky, missed a lot of guys. Byron Brown at South Florida missed a ton of guys. Bama secondary is young, inexperienced. They've missed guys. And guys have kind of been open. So you got to cover. Their secondary's got to come out to play because, again, Beck's a pretty good quarterback. Like, if Stetson Bennett was their QB this year with Georgia, I'd be very concerned. Like Carson Beck's got first round talent, could potentially be a first overall pick. Like Beck's had a lot of talent. He'll hit those wide receivers and you leave him wide open. Number 2 in this one, Alabama's defensively up front. Tate Rodemeyer, Georgia's tackle. I think he's gonna be out. Like Georgia's been a little shaky in the offensive line. Bama could get some pressure on them. It's going to be loud in there, obviously. Bama could get pressure, get a couple false starts in this one. If their front can make a difference in this one, get after Carson Beck because he really has not gotten like uncomfortable in the pocket before. So like I don't know how Beck's going to handle that, but like if Alabama can do that to him, he's not used to it either. I would think maybe you get him to throw an interception or two in this one. So that'd be huge. And then the third one too for Bama in this one is to not turn the football over. Joe Milrow to pick the football. I don't think Georgia's offense is great. Like I don't think it's an offense that get a ton of chunk plays. So you don't want to like give them short fields here or anything. Joe Milrow done a really good job to pick the football, but don't give Georgia here like a short field in this game where I do think both teams could score, but like I wouldn't be shocked if the thing's like 20-17. I really wouldn't. So I think turnovers could be huge in this one, and Milrow stays away from it. Be good for them.
I think it's going to be a close, competitive game for both these two teams. I think it's good. I think that Georgia will run the ball pretty well. I think that both quarterbacks are going to play well. I think both defenses will make their stops too. Maybe force a turnover each way. I think it's close and competitive, but I think the coaching advantage of Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is 1-5 against Bama. I think the coaching advantage of Kirby Smart over Kalen DeBoer is the difference in the end. And that's why I got Georgia winning this one. I got Georgia. They're the program. They are the program in college football to me right now. I know they gave up that number 1 ranking because of their game against Kentucky, but to me, they're the number 1 program in college football right now. I think they beat Bama 28-24. But Justin, can Kalen DeBoer get a huge win against Georgia in his first year as Bama's head coach?
I think he does. I got Bama 24-21. The first time Bama's a home underdog since 2007. I believe that was against LSU that year. I believe. I'm not 100% sure, though. And then for Georgia, too, the first time that they're in Tuscaloosa with fans since 2007. So, they don't play very often here. That's why the SEC needs to go to 9 games. So this could happen more often. But, they love Cupcake Week. But I do want to say this about Georgia and the program. Because Mark Richt was a good coach. And, they're always – Mark Richt got you to 9-4 or 9-3, something like that every year. Usually when a program wants to take the next step and fire a head coach, usually it doesn't go great. For Georgia, with Kirby, it's been a home run for him. He's taken on that next level. So they did a really good job of was a little unsure of it at the beginning when they fired Rick, but it's worked out beautifully for Georgia. Now, with Saban gone, you can be the class of the ACC. I know you got Texas now, and DeBoer I think is going to do a good job at Bama. I think Georgia's obviously in good hands now, but I think Bama gets them here at home here on a Saturday night. That place is going to be fired up.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely can see that place being fired up on. I think that place will definitely be fired up on Saturday night. And before we move on to the other games, the question I have is who needs this game more? And I look at the schedules of both teams, and I think it's Georgia because you look at Georgia's schedule, they got to go to Texas, they got to go to Ole Miss, they're not going to play Tennessee. Really, I think Bama's schedule is a little bit easier. I mean, they don't play Ole Miss, they don't play Texas. They really Tennessee's their. They know they're at Tennessee, but that's their toughest game. I think it's Georgia. I think it's Georgia needs this game more to get to the SEC championship game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. Because Tennessee's gonna be a tough on the road for Bama. Missouri's not that good. Like Missouri's
Yeah,
not as good as
Missouri
last
barely
year.
beat Vanderbilt.
Yeah, they're not playing well at all right now. They should have lost that game. Very easily could have. BC had them for a while too. LSU is very fraudulent. Harold Perkins is their best defense player. He's gonna be out for the rest of the year now. So I think it's Georgia too, because Texas, Quinn Ewers will be back by then.
Yeah.
It is after Red River rivalry, so we'll see how Texas does after that. Ole Miss on the road is going to be tough. I think Lane's got a defense, and then Tennessee.
Tennessee's
Tennessee has a
legit.
defense this year. Yeah,
They're
Tennessee's good.
legit. That quarterback's really
they
good.
are.
They got a good. We
Yeah,
talk about the edge rusher. Tennessee's legit.
yeah, they are. So for Georgia, this definitely means more because man, you can't fault. Don't get into the playoffs. Even with 2 losses, but like I don't think you're making the SEC title with 2. Maybe you do, depending on how other things shake out. But I really think it's important to get that top 4 seed to get that bye. It's gonna be huge. So it's gonna be tough to win a title. I think trying to have them to play that first round. But yeah, so I'm with you. I think it's Georgia. This needs this thing more.
Yeah, I think they definitely do. Should be a great game on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa between Georgia and Alabama. So we'll stay in the SEC for a noon matchup between Kentucky and Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss wins this. They win it going away. I think Jackson Dart is a big game. I think that they win this one. I think Lane Kiffin wins this one by 3 scores. I got Ole Miss here 38-17. But Justin, can Kentucky do what they did against Georgia and pull off I didn't pull off the upset, but here pull off a major upset over Ole Miss?
No, I don't think so. I get Ole Miss here as well, 38-14. I don't think Kentucky's be able to shorten the game like they tried to do against Georgia. I think Ole Miss offense is too explosive in this one, and I think Mississippi's got a defense. I think they're gonna get after Kentucky quarterback Brock Vandegrift. I think it's gonna be a tough day for Kentucky to get anything going, and I think Jackson Dart plays well, and Lane's been running it up. I think he wants Dart to get that Heisman, so he'll continue to put it on here on Ole Miss. I mean, if on Kentucky, if you got the chance, and John Calipari is going to be loving it because him and Stoops did not like each other. So,
Oh, really?
Calipari probably loves the downfall of Kentucky football right now because they built a football facility for Stoops when Calipari wanted a basketball one. So,
yeah.
So, do you remember when they were in Bahamas and he took the shot at Stoops because he was not next to, not near the office. So,
really?
Stoops going to go in there. Yeah. It was a couple years ago. That was kind of the start of the downfall there for Cal, which I think was the best. So Cal probably loving it and probably enjoy watching Ole Miss put it on Kentucky this week.
I bet he will. So we'll go to the Big Ten and we'll start with Michigan and Minnesota, the big noon game on Saturday. I don't know why Fox didn't pick Penn State, Illinois to be the big noon game. I don't know why they picked this one to be the big noon game. Because honestly, Minnesota's quarterback play is terrible. I think this is a game made for Michigan to win by 2 scores. They'll be able to run the football. I got Michigan by 2 scores here, 27-13 over Minnesota. Fox should regret not taking Penn State and Illinois because this game, I think this is going to be kind of a boring 2-score Michigan win.
Yeah. How I understand how the TV stuff works is like every week, I think the NBC and Fox alternate who goes first.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So I think NBC got first this week, I believe. That's my guess of that. I don't know, but that's my guess. But again, this one, Minnesota just played a team that can't throw the football and they gave up 31. Caleb Johnson, the Iowa running back, might be the second best running back in the entire country behind Genty at Boise. I like Max Brosmer, the New Hampshire transfer coming in Minnesota here, but he's got no protection. They have no weapons for him. He might be regretting not staying in New Hampshire because he would be putting up numbers with the New Hampshire offense. So, he took a shot here. It hasn't worked out, but I think Michigan does whatever. I think Michigan has a decent day on the ground here. And I think their defense, Mason Graham finally last week had an impact on the game. He really had it early on this year, and I think he does this week. And Michigan wins this game like 20-10.
Yeah, I can see Michigan win. I could see Michigan winning this one big over Minnesota. We got big game in the Big Ten at Saturday night. Illinois and Penn State and Happy Valley. It's gonna be a loud crowd in Happy Valley. But I do think Illinois might stay in it early. I like the way Altmaier's playing. He's playing pretty well. He's playing really well for Illinois. So they may stay in it early. But in the second half, Penn State's taking over with Singleton, with Allen. Which Growler's playing right now. I got Penn State by 2 scores here. I got Penn State 34-20 over Illinois. But Justin, Can Bielema do what he did 2 years ago and upset Penn State in Happy Valley? It did happen 2 years ago, even though I think 3 years ago, even though I think Penn State is clearly better than they were 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think Penn State gets it done. I think they avoid this time 31-17. Bielema taking a shot at the at a Happy Valley, saying Nebraska fans are louder than Penn State fans the other day. So
Not
he's
something you
running
want
up
to do
the.
before you play in Happy Valley. Not something you want to do.
No, he would not. Not the best choice to go after him. But Andy Cole and Nicky, I don't know if you've seen Kansas this year, but Jaden Daniels is a totally different quarterback. They miss him, and I don't know how long Cole and Nicky's going to be here at Penn State, but they're much more explosive this year in offense. I know last week they beat maybe one of the this Kent State team might be worse than UConn, that 18 or 19 team that can stop anybody.
Yeah.
But I just think Illinois in this one, Luke Ballmeyer's played well. I think in this one he probably makes a turnover too, but I think if Illinois can limit the explosive plays, they'll be okay. But Bowling Green had some success doing the air against Penn State a couple weeks ago. Now that's a pretty good MAC team. But we'll see Illinois can kind of test that secondary this week. But I do think Penn State gets out of there with a win by a couple scores.
Got a Big 12 matchup in Manhattan as Oklahoma State plays Kansas State. And I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going with the team that was closer in their game last week than Kansas State. I'm going with the upset here. I am going with Oklahoma State to beat Kansas State because of Ollie Gordon. I think Ollie Gordon did game on the ground, and I think he does. I think Gundy pulls the upset 27-24. But, Justin, can Kansas State bounce back from last week?
I think they do. I should have known Provat night that it was from 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter to like 10 minutes, 45 seconds. Just everything possible could have gone wrong for Kansas State did. Like BYU, the dude muffed a punt inside the 10 and then took it all the way to the house for a touchdown. The dude couldn't breathe after Avery Johnson had a couple of bad throws in that one. They kind of just went, tried to kind of just calm him down, sit him down. He was not great. I expect Kansas State just to run the ball, run like the triple option this week out of the shotgun and, do that. I think he plays well enough. And I don't like Oklahoma State right now. That game was a lot they got some garbage time yards last week. Ollie Gordon just hasn't been able to get it going. That offensive line wasn't great. Alan Bowman got benched, but I believe he's going to start in this one. I don't really like this Oak State team. I don't like the defense. I'll take Kansas State at home. Manhattan's usually a tough place to play. I'll take the Wildcats.
Got another Big 12 matchup in Baylor as BYU takes on Baylor, and I think BYU wins this one again. I think their offense puts up over 30. I don't like Baylor's defense. They gave up a Hail Mary at the end of the game against Colorado last week. You're probably shaking your head after that.
Oh yeah, I was.
I think BYU wins. I think they win it by 7. I got them 31-24 for Baylor. But Justin, can Baylor bounce back after what happened last week?
I have no idea who to pick in this game because BYU coming off a big win. Usually it's never a good sign. Usually the next week you don't get that type of performance. And the Baylor, who David Aranda lost his job Saturday night. Like I'm shocked he did not get fired Sunday. He's gonna get fired at some point. And this line makes Baylor's a favorite. It just looks too obvious to take BYU, so I have to take Baylor. I just but again, I wouldn't be surprised they lose because I could see this Baylor team quit. Sawyer Robertson's. Their backups played pretty well. BYU's defense, I really like. Jay Hill came up from Weber State a couple years ago, was a really good head coach there. Their defense, BYU's defense is really good, but I'll take Baylor at home. Usually it's a tougher place to play. I think maybe a letdown spot here for BYU, but it was a tough one to pick. I could really see it going either way. And if Baylor does get blown out, I think this is it for Dave Aranda. I could see him being let go on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree there. I definitely agree there. Back to the Big Ten as we got Wisconsin facing USC, hosting their first Big Ten game. They had their Big Ten opener last week where they lost to Michigan. They're still not. That's the physicality for USC, especially defensively. They got bullied by Michigan last week. That's the reason Michigan won that game. But I think it'll be a different story this week because you know for sure they're at home, so they'll be able to throw the ball against Wisconsin. I think they'll be able to contain Wisconsin's running game. I got USC by a couple scores here. I think Miller Moss is much better than what Wisconsin's going to throw out at quarterback. I got USC 34-17 over Wisconsin. But Justin, can Wisconsin do what Michigan did, run the ball all over USC and pull off a big upset?
No, because they haven't been able to do that. They kind of don't have that running back yet that they've been able to kind of lean on like they usually do. And I think in this, if this was the old Barry Alvarez Wisconsin team, I think Wisconsin would beat them. But they're not anymore. And I think, yeah, USC, they're building up the physicality still. They only played like 7 defensive linemen. Like, I think they're still building that depth on the defensive line. But this is a Wisconsin team that's not going to out physical you. I expect Noah Moss to play well. And I don't block the Wisconsin quarterback. I don't really like him. I don't like the weapons Wisconsin have. So they'll make some plays, but just not enough. I think USC outscores them. They win this one 34-20.
Matchup of 2 top 25 teams in South Bend as Louisville takes on Notre Dame. I think this is close and competitive, but I think Notre Dame's defense plays well. And I think they're able to run the ball, and I think Riley Leonard doesn't make mistakes. And I think that's the difference. That's why I got Notre Dame here 24-17. But Justin, can Louisville hand Notre Dame their second loss at home this year?
I'm gonna take Notre Dame 20-17, but I don't know what Notre Dame team's gonna show up this week. Um Louisville's looked a lot better than I thought. They lost a lot of guys from last year's team, and Tyler Shucks looked really good. He's been a guy that's been banged up a lot over the years. Has been healthy so far. Hopefully that continues for him. But Louisville's their front four defensively against the run's been really, really good, and they'll get pressure on you too. So if they can kind of make Notre Dame one-dimensional, I think Notre Dame could have a really tough time moving the football in this game. But I think at home, I do think Notre Dame figures that out. I think Leonard played well enough in this one. I think their offensive line holds up enough in this one. I'll take Notre Dame 20-17, but I'm not too confident about it.
We got Arch Manning making his first start. No, last week was his first start. First SEC start of his career as Mississippi State plays Texas, and I think this is a blowout. I think Texas win this big. I got him winning 52-10. Justin, what do you expect from Arch Manning's first SEC game, even though he's playing probably the worst team in the SEC?
Yeah, this might be the worst non-Vandy SEC team that I've seen. I like Jeff Lebby, their new head coach, but man, there's no SEC talent on the team. It's the team that got blown out by a Florida team, which we've talked about a couple times this year. That Billy Napier gonna get fired at some point this year. So, but for Arch in this one, again, I think they're gonna do a good job of just managing them. I think they're gonna be able to do whatever they want offensively. So, like, I don't think he's gonna have too many problems this one. He looked pretty good last week. I know he threw a couple interceptions. But like I think he makes some good throws in this one. Again, Isaiah Bond, I think he had 2 catches last week for 75 yards. Like, I think that he does enough. I don't think he's not gonna be any bad situations in this one. They're gonna be able to they ran the football like 52 times last week. Like, I don't think they're gonna ask him to throw a ton either. So I think Texas wins big. It's like 48-7, and Quinn should be back, it sounds like, for the Red River rivalry in 2 weeks here. So, but I will say, do not stop putting, like, people are betting him for Heisman. Quinn Ewers get the job back. So, like, just stop donating $5-10 to the sport books. It's not worth it. So, but Arches look good so far, and he's fast too. He's got some speed there too for one of the Mannings, which usually packet passers, but he's got some wheels on him.
Yeah, he definitely does. The difference from Eli and Peyton, so he'll be in it. But that's today's game. Yeah. You gotta have some wheels. You gotta be able to be mobile in today's game as a quarterback. Big Ten matchup in East Lansing, got Ohio State and Michigan State. And I think Ohio State wins this one big. I think they cruise in this one. I got them winning at 38-10 over Michigan State. Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, Ohio State, kind of like Michigan last year, just feels like they're very vanilla. They're not going to show a ton. Again, Will Howard's all right. Kansas State wasn't mad that he did not enter the portal last year. They were real high on Avery Johnson. But the Michigan State quarterback, Aiden Childs, like, he was going to make probably a couple of spectacular throws. They're going to say, wow. But at the same time, he'll make 3 very bad choices. It's like, what are you doing? He's one of those, he's got a lot of talent. You just got to rein it in a bit. Like, he threw a pick in the end zone that kind of ended the game last week, which is a horrible throw. I like Jonathan Smith as a coach. They got to get some talent in there. The defense hasn't played horrible so far this year, but I think it's this Ohio State team. I think maybe they keep it close for a little bit, but I think at the end, Ohio State pulls away and they'll win by a couple scores.
Here's an interesting matchup, and I picked this one last. It's an interesting matchup in the ACC. I think you know where I'm going here. The team you thought would win the ACC in Virginia Tech, the team that should win the ACC in Miami. So in this game, I'll let you pick it first. Do you think Virginia Tech's going to give Miami a game? Do they pull this upset?
Oh no, they're not. No, Brett Pry, he's not very good. To lose, Bud Foster's Virginia Tech teams would never let anybody go into Lane Stadium and run all over them like Rutgers did last week. That was pathetic. I got too caught up in the Virginia Tech. That's on me. That's been a horrible choice by me. Miami should blow them out. Again, I'll give them credit. Miami close early there. Miami stepped on the gas and blew them out. This team might be Mario Cristobal proof. They really might. So Cam Ward plays well. I think they should blow out Virginia Tech at home. They can't stop the run. They're decent against the pass. Virginia Tech is, but I think Miami could run all over them.
Yeah, I agree. I think Miami wins this game 38-17. They win it going away. And it looks like it's Miami and Clemson, the top two teams in the ACC this year. Yeah.
It looks like Dabo looks like he finally let Garrett Riley call the plays because they're throwing downfield.
Yeah.
2024 finally Dabo.
He's evolving a little bit. Dabo's evolving a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Now we need the portal.
Exactly. He's got to do the portal. He's got to go to the portal now. Lose to Miami in the ACC championship game, then he starts using the portal. I guarantee you that's going to end up happening with Dabo Swinney. So it should be an interesting week of college football. But we'll wrap up the show talking about the WNBA playoffs. And the most popular player in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, is in the first round taking on our Connecticut Sun. And I think the Sun closes out tonight. I think that they're just clearly the better team. The Fever have only beat them once this year. Outstanding rookie year for Caitlin Clark. She's clearly the rookie of the year, but I just think the Sun close it out tonight. Yeah,
in January, I took the Fever. When I knew they had the number one pick, I knew they were at Clark. I took the Fever 22-1 to win the WNBA. So wow. I am cheering for the Fever. So I hope they go on a run here and somehow win it. But yeah, I think the Sun are the better player or the better team. I know they were lacking shooting early on. They got Marina Mabry come off the bench, and she's been pretty good. So, yeah, I think Connecticut's a better team. Alyssa Thompson, Juwan Bonner is really good. So, I just think the Sun have too much talent here, and then they knock out the Fever. But, hey, the Fever started to play better after they were 1-9. So, but, yeah, I think maybe next year for the Fever.
Yeah, and you look at the Sun, they can contain Caitlin Clark, 2 for 13 from three-point range. I mean, they completely contain Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark, best WNBA rookie season we've seen, but she's still not close to A'ja Wilson yet. And there's a reason A'ja Wilson is the MVP of the league. She's not close to her yet, but great season for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, it was. She definitely did. She came in and struggled a little bit early, which wasn't surprising, and she took her lumps early. But yeah, she's really figured it out towards the end. Connecticut's got some good defenders, and they did a really nice job against her. But yeah, she had an outstanding season, and again, the future's bright. You saw, there's some talent on that Fever team. So again, they can get another player or two to play. I have to imagine that they could find somebody to play alongside Caitlin Clark, who's just another star. I know they got Boston, and Lexi Hall had a really nice year. Kelsey Mitchell. So it's a decent roster. Now if they can get somebody else around her, the future's really bright with her because she had an outstanding rookie year.
Yeah, absolutely. So if the Sun win this series, they'll play the winner of the Lynx and Mercury series. But we got one semifinal already set in the WNBA, and that's, in my opinion, the rematch of the finals last year and the two best teams in the WNBA, and that's the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty. And I think this is going to be a great series between these two teams. I think it's going 5, but I can't go against the Aces. 2-time defending champs. I can't go against the Aces. And I just can't go against them. That's why I got the Aces beating Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart. I got A'ja Wilson and the Aces getting to the finals for the third year in a row. I got them beating the Liberty in 5.
I'm going to take the Liberty to finally get the Aces finally.
Wow.
The Aces, maybe because they were back-to-back. I know they had a slide there kind of towards the middle of the season there. They weren't playing well defensively, and I think Becky Harmon called them out a couple of times about it. But I think Brianna Stewart and this Liberty team with Ionescu, I think they find a way to finally get over the hump. I think, it goes 5 games, and I think Liberty, having that 5th game at home there, I think is the difference, and they do knock off the 2-time defending WNBA champions.
Should be very interesting. We will be talking about more of the WNBA playoffs next week, but that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin Afrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about Week 5 of the NFL season, the wild card round starting in Major League Baseball, Week 6 of the college football season, and the WNBA playoffs. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meek, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.